Shit We've Read is a proud member of Bilo Network, a network of geeky podcasts.
Please visit shitwe'veread.com to support the show.
Now let's talk about some books. All right, welcome to Shit We Read and happy Pride Month, everybody.
Woo! There we go.
Yeah!
So excited, even though my Pride Month has been very boring because I'm in school. This is where we need a soundboard, Rico, for boo.
Boo!
At least you weren't sick during Pride.
Yeah, at least I didn't have the Rona, Rico. Yeah, I'm calling you out. No, everyone, honestly, everyone's getting it, so there is no shame here. We don't kink shame and we don't Rona shame anymore. It's going around. It's fine.
You look like you are scaring our guest.
Am I?
I am terrified.
This is kind of just how it goes. You let me be host, so this is really your fault. So, my name is Bella Romero, she, they, and I am joined by co-hosts Laura Benson and Jason Rico, and we are all here to discuss the super queer Major Detours by Zachary, Sergi. And to help us do that, we have a special guest with us today who's already spoken, Jessilee Windhaus. Jessilee, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, hello. My name is Jessilee. Very excited to be here. Thank you for having me. Sorry that I spoke before the introduction. I was so excited.
It's okay. I'm running the ship, which means we have no idea where we're going to go tonight, which is in the spirit of our Choose Your Own Adventure novel. So I think that works perfectly. So tell us a little bit about yourself and why you're here for Pride Month.
My name is Jessilee. I am a big nerd and I wish that I read more often, to be honest. So this was a great opportunity to read. I love sci-fi, absolutely adore sci-fi and fantasy. And I was super excited to be invited on this podcast. I know Laura from way back when we were both doing film stuff. Yeah, a while. It's been a while. And I am a proud queer, so I jumped at the opportunity to be in a Pride Month episode. And this book was super gay, so I loved it.
Right?
It was.
I'm always worried about queer baiting, and I've been pleasantly surprised with the books that I've read the last 6 months. I've really kicked up my reading, and the queer books have not been disappointing. So I think this was one of them that I was pleasantly surprised by how gay it was. This author did not hold back. It's fantastic. And we'll get more into that as we continue into the episode. But welcome, Jessilee. We're excited to have you.
Yeah, thanks for joining us.
I wish I could capture the sound of a rainbow for you. For this episode, but we'll just move on to shit we're reading. Rico, what have you been reading since I've been bullying you? Let's start with you.
Me? Yeah. Actually, before I get to what I'm reading, I feel like I owe Jessilee a slight apology, and everybody here in a slight apology, because Jessilee, you just said you really like sci-fi and fantasy, and this is a sci-fi fantasy book podcast. However, once again, somehow this book ended up not being fantasy.
I was gonna bring that up. We did it again.
We picked it specifically thinking it was gonna be a fantasy, and as I'm reading, I'm like, at any point is anything gonna happen that makes this fantasy-esque? And nothing ever did. And I'm like, oh damn,
actual magic.
Yeah, no magic. I mean, mysticism, but no actual
magic.
On my
mysticism.
No, I'm not hating. I wanted.
This feels like a hate crime for Pride Month.
Oh, not. Jeez. Oh my, it's fine. I can cut all this. So let them say what they want. And yeah. So to answer your question, what I've been reading recently, I have been making my way through a bunch of Isaac Asimov's sci-fi stuff. I read I, Robot a few years ago and I absolutely loved it. And then maybe about a year and a half ago, I saw that Apple TV Plus was making an adaptation of his Foundation book, which I had never read. And it's like, okay, I'm the kind of person who likes reading a book before I see the thing. So I'm like, I should probably read Foundation. But then I found out that Isaac Asimov's Robot books and then his Empire books and his Foundation books all take place in the same universe, just over the span of like tens of thousands of years. I'm like, well, I know what I'm doing this summer. So I've been making my way through all the robot stuff. I finished that. I finished all the Empire stuff. Put that on hold to read this book, and then I will continue on with Foundation. but that's what I've been reading, and I've really kind of been enjoying it. It's been fun. He's one of the greats of sci-fi, and I definitely can see why. So yeah.
I give you
Nice.
props for traditional sci-fi, but 1 out of 5 rainbows for the lack of queer books in Pride Month. So
Oh, that's definitely not even 1 out of 5. That's like half out of 5 because
that's the. I mean, I don't feel
because
in. I don't.
it was written in the 50s, and some of it is a little problematic.
Yeah,
I will say.
I don't believe in like negative feedback as a teacher. So I'm going to say needs improvement. There's always room for improvement, Rico.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I don't believe in
I
half
own up to
rainbows.
that. I own up to
Yeah,
that. You know, I like to read the
that's a 1
classics, and
rainbow
then
for me.
and then make up for it by reading something contemporary with, you know, people who actually do representation well. It's sad when the robots in the book are better characters than the women in the book. That's what I'm going to say. That said, you know, you got to kind of take them with, you know, as they were. They were written in a time where things were different, and
Yeah, were robots the original like non-binary sci-fi? Let's we can discuss that in
Oh,
another episode. But
that's an interesting thought.
According to Janelle Monáe, yes.
wow, and that
Oh,
right there, a non-binary
oh,
king.
I was
So
gonna say that robots are definitely binary because they use binary code, right?
well, then we're getting into the technical specs of it. So that's interesting. That's a whole nother episode that week. Well, maybe that's Pride 2023.
Yeah.
Write that down, somebody. An idea journal.
All right, who's next? Who's next?
Laura, you next.
the last book I read was Sky Hunter by Marie Lu. I was planning to read a few AAPI books last month. Just did not find the time. So it was just the one book. But I actually really liked it. It was really interesting. It was kind of cool. The main character is mute. And so the way she communicates is through sign language. And a lot of people around her also use sign language. So it's really interesting to see that part of the story. And like the story behind why she can't talk and all that stuff was pretty fascinating. So I will probably continue to read. I think so far there's 2, so I'll probably read the next one soon. So that's where I'm at right now. What about you, Jessilee?
So I've been reading Leviathan Wakes. It's part of the Expanse series, essentially. I don't know if it was originally called the Expanse series, but it became the television series, The Expanse.
Mm-hmm.
Really good sci-fi. It's like high sci-fi, you know. If there was such a thing as high sci-fi like there is high fantasy, it would be a high sci-fi. Very good. And I love the Expanse series, and because I watched the whole TV series, and I've been told over and over again that I should read the books. So I'm doing that. And the good thing is that I have a really shitty memory. So I've forgotten a lot of the finer details of the series. So that is helping me read the books and be still surprised. So silver linings all around. And after I finish that one, I will probably be reading another installment of the Horizon Zero Dawn graphic novel series. Of Horizon Zero Dawn. So another good sci-fi queer intersection.
I didn't know it was queer.
Shit. Well,
maybe it's
that's okay.
Not
that's
at
okay.
First. Yeah, maybe that's a spoiler warning.
It's the game has been on my list for a while to get to, so it's okay.
Yeah, I feel like you could. That's a spoiler that creates fans. So
It's true.
Yeah.
Thank you for justifying my.
That's a selling point, not a spoiler.
That's true. There we go.
Yeah. At least, you know, for the cool people out there listening. Well, what I've been reading has been a lot of peer-reviewed journal articles for my master's program. So I won't bore you guys with those details, but I did get the A's on my assignments that I needed. So
congratulations.
At least it paid off. Thank you. But in between, when I fall asleep, I like to usually listen to an audiobook. So the 2 that I've been enjoying have been some YA romance novels, so pretty light on the romance, heavy on the cheese. And the first one is Instant Karma by Marissa Meyer, a fantasy queen. But this was a very non-fantasy book. Maybe a little with the whole instant karma idea, which I won't fully get into. But that's very, very soft fantasy, like power. I don't want to say too much because I feel like it's a little bit of a spoiler. But it's just really cute. It's about two kids who are science partners and they supposedly hate each other, but by the end of the summer, redoing their science project together, you know what happens. And then the second one, Love Boat Taipei, which is an AAPI author. Excellent book so far. I just started it for my other book club that I do, where we just kind of pick random books. And we picked this one, and it's really interesting. Another like YA romance coming of age. Maybe Bildung's Roman, we'll see. Classic struggle. She's first gen. Her parents are from China and they want her to be a doctor, but she wants to be a dancer. And they ship her off to a Taipei summer camp instead of her being able to do her audition for the Tisch School of the Arts at NYU and missing out on the big parade, which she choreographed for her dance team. So far, so good. Very well written, very interesting, very YA, but I love that kind of stuff. So yeah.
Sounds cute.
That's what I've been reading. Yeah, it's very cute. I like it. That's what I like for my bedtime audiobook. Something light, something easy to listen to. If I fall asleep, it's not that big of a deal. I didn't miss some big symbolic passage that's key to the rest of the book. It's like I missed a flirt scene and it's like, okay, there'll be another one in 2 pages.
The reality show of books.
Exactly. It's the reality show of books. It can be on in the background. I don't miss much. So yeah, that's what I've been reading. So should we get into our book this time?
Yes, please.
Major Detours.
Yes.
Do you want me to read the synopsis? Do I call on someone else to read the synopsis?
I'll read it. I mean, I'm not going to do a good job, but I'll do it.
Well, your voice... no, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
If I do it with a Russian accent.
Yes. Zachary, Sergi. Sergi?
Choose your path. That's a horrible
All right,
Russian
Rico,
accent.
you go then. You go.
Okay, so we read Major Detours, which is a YA queer contemporary mystery. It is basically a choose your own adventure book, which is one of the big reasons why it stood out to us. And we thought it'd be fun to read because in theory, we could have 4 very different stories to talk about. So this is the synopsis off of Goodreads. Choose your path forward in this mystical, interactive YA about the powers of friendship, self-discovery, and tarot. It's the summer before college and 4 best friends, Amelia, Chase, Cleo, and Logan, are on the first leg of the road trip inspired by the unique tarot deck that Amelia inherited from her grandmother. However, their trip full of visiting occult shops, bonding, and sightseeing takes a major detour as their friends discover that their tarot deck is more valuable and coveted than they could have ever imagined. As the friends race to finish this mystical scavenger hunt across the West Coast and uncover the mysteries of their tarot deck, it is you who will decide where to go next and how the story will end. With 4 possible final and romantic endings, you will get to make actual choices to further the friends' road trip adventure in this unique interactive novel. Will you uncover the mysteries of the tarot deck and the legacy left behind? Will you help Amelia and Chase learn and grow? And will you unravel the secrets these friends keep from each other and from themselves?
Excellent job, Rico.
Thank you.
5 out of 5 rainbows.
Yes.
I'm not going to let that go this episode, you guys. Excellent. Well, let's talk mysticism. I was really curious because going into this, I was like, I don't believe in mysticism. This is just going to be kind of like a fun choose your own adventure. And there happens to be a spooky, mystical element to it. And then I found myself being like, oh, wait, no, I actually kind of do. I kind of forget about this, like psychic intuition, karma, really feeling the energies of the world. Who knows if it's real, but it's fun to think about. So I'm kind of curious for all of you guys listening and for our hosts, how spiritual were you walking into this? Like, where would you put yourself on a scale of like super skeptic to like, no, I talk to ghosts on the regular?
Which, by the way, neither one of those are wrong.
No, this is a spectrum. Just like sexuality, this is a spectrum.
I like that. I like that.
It's on brand for Pride Month, so we won't yuck anybody's yum this episode. So be honest. What were your thoughts on mysticism before reading the book?
Well, I'll say I was on one end of the spectrum in that I'm very skeptical. I don't really buy into mysticism or the occult, or ghosts or anything like that. So going into this, my background knowledge on tarot was basically that it is a deck of cards. I don't know more than that. I know it is. I know there are readings, but I don't know anything more than that. I don't know what they mean. I have no preconceived notions of what this is. And yeah, so that's how I went into it. And I will say that probably shaped my reading and enjoyment of the book slightly, which we will get to, I'm sure, in a bit. But yeah, that's where I come at this.
All right, Rico, you can leave. Laura, you're up next, I think. I'm just kidding. Laura.
I feel like I've always kind of been somewhere in the middle. Just because I feel like it could all be real, but we could just not understand how it works. So there's a lot of possibilities out there. So I think it just kind of depends on the situation and what's going on and, context, whether I feel like I believe in something specific or not. I did not know anything about tarot cards before this, other than they were supposed to be something about like telling your future or telling something about you or somebody you know, that the idea of it leaning more towards a mystical arts type thing, which I grew up believing was not okay because I grew up in a very religious family. So
we need a religious trauma button. That sounds upbeat and positive because I feel like that's going to come up a lot, especially for
maybe
Pride Month.
But yeah, so I kind of went into this still like with an open mind and like interested to see what the cards how the cards played into this story, and it was actually pretty interesting. I kind of wish that maybe it got into a little more detail sometimes, because there's just so much, but it was still really good either way. It made me interested in at least maybe learning a little bit more about tarot cards.
Cool. And Jessilee?
Yeah, so I actually was a practicing Wiccan for about 10 years. So I am pretty familiar with tarot. And however, since then, I have become pretty, I'm a pretty staunch atheist. I'm pretty skeptical, but I would say that the occult and witchcraft and just anything in that sort of realm still has a really special place in my heart. I just view it differently than I used to. And I love tarot. I think it's really fascinating. And actually, I forgot to say this at the beginning of the show, but part of the reason that I'm here is because I run a nonprofit arts organization called Empire Arts Collective. And we do a lot of different programming. And one of the most recent productions that we did was a devised theater show. That's a show that's written collaboratively with all the performers and then performed. And it was all about tarot, actually. It was using the archetypes of tarot to create modern stories. I'll have to share pictures with you all. It was pretty rad. I didn't direct it or anything. I just produced it. But so I sent this book to the director who got really into tarot, and I was like, look, it's all the things. Yeah. Anyway, that's sort of my background on it. So it was really interesting seeing how other people, especially the author of the book, and the way that it was just interesting seeing the way tarot is depicted by the author in the book.
Yeah, I'm kind of a combination of all three of you, I feel like. I like that we have like a full spectrum of perspectives and experiences with this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm familiar with tarot in that I knew that it was a deck of cards that had symbolic meaning, based on a certain way to read them. The symbols had special meaning, but also depending on the deck could be read differently, and like everyone's practice is a little bit different and intuitive. But beyond that, like wasn't really familiar with a lot of the symbolism. I've never studied it. I've never had a reading. Although I'm interested in that. I think that'd be really fun to experience. Because I'm sort of like Laura, where I'm like, maybe it is real. Like, who are we to say that it isn't? Like, maybe we just don't understand it. But also similarly to the characters in the book, like the psychology of it is very fascinating to me, and how it is somewhat based in some of these like psychological trends and theories, which they get into a little bit in the book. I feel like I would have liked a little bit more, because I like the science of the occult as well. But then also part of it is like there's a long running joke in my friend group that I'm psychic, because I often will like text people things like right before they are, or I'm like reading their mind.
It's funny that you bring that up, because me and Jason do that
Yeah.
around food,
Yeah.
and we call it vegan ESP.
Yes. I do that with Sander, my fiance. Yesterday I was like, what do you think about like pizza with Kalamata olives and like arugula and like balsamic? He was like, how are you in my stomach? Like, what the hell? Like, how would I know? We haven't made pizza in months. Like, how did you know that I wanted to make homemade pizza and with all those toppings? I was like, what can I say? I understand these things. I vibe. I get those
Yeah.
signals. So I don't know. It's a thing. And like my friend Z, who lives upstairs, who's been a guest on this podcast, I am constantly texting them like, hey, do you want to go get some tea? And they're like, I was literally just about to text you if you wanted to get tea. I'm like, I know. I just have a feeling, just have a vibe. And I reach out and I see what happens. So there's a lot of that too. So yeah, so that was just kind of me going into it like, oh wait, I kind of like this kind of stuff. I don't know if I believe it all the time, but it's fun to think about, like sort of like astrological signs. Like, do I really believe that our destiny is predetermined by stars? No, but is there something about being born in the winter around these holidays that might affect your personality? Yeah, probably. Again, psychology and behavior, sociology, all of those G's. Ologies. It's very interesting. So yeah. So I was curious. So I think going into this book, we all have various perspectives. I'm curious how we interpret it. So all right. So non-spoiler first impressions then. Someone go first.
I went first last time, not me. Not it.
Not it.
I'll go. I actually really liked it. I thought it was really interesting. There was a lot of characters, the diversity. Like we said in the beginning, this is a very, very queer book, and it was written so well. And so I really enjoyed that. Obviously, it was fun being able to choose between things as we were going along. I made sure, for anyone who hasn't read it, the back of the book comes with kind of like some worksheets to fill in the choices that you make as you go along, to learn some more things like about yourself. And so I made sure as soon as I made a decision, I wrote it down on the sheet. I printed mine out. I didn't want to write in my book. So I wrote it immediately down on the sheet as this is my decision, so that I would not change it. I did not have the urge to go back and change it, but it was still interesting enough for me to probably go back and go ahead and choose different things, just to see where it goes from there. The only thing that was a little frustrating for me was, and maybe this was on purpose, so that it switches between two perspectives, Amelia and Chase. And sometimes I would just fly through the chapter and forget to see whose perspective I was reading. And they sound like they have the same voice. And so sometimes that got confusing and I would have to go back and see who I was reading.
I agree with that in particular.
Yeah, they
That was gonna
sounded
be
like the
one of my
same person, but
notes.
again, I'm wondering if that was on purpose, which we can get into in the spoilers. But other than that, it was fascinating. I was very, very interested in the psychological part of the tarot cards, like you had brought up, Bella. And so I'm actually, I kind of want to like look into tarot cards a little bit more.
Same.
Just because it just kind of sounds cool. But yeah, I would say overall I really liked it. Popcorn Jessilee.
Sweet.
Wow, it's been a long time since I've heard popcorn. Sorry, go ahead, Jessilee.
No, it's cool. I popcorn people all the time, so
I like it.
but now I want popcorn, so it's the
Oh,
downside.
sorry,
How
my bad.
dare you. Yeah, very rude. Yeah, so I really loved the casual queer representation. I always love that when it's more casual and it doesn't need to be a whole ass thing. I loved that. I did love some of the more occultishness of it. I thought that was really great. And I love a good YA novel. It's just, like the way that YA novels explore some really like basic but potent human emotions is just really refreshing and relatable. And it feels like it's back to basics, which is really a nice feeling,
Mm-hmm.
And it is just really relatable in a really nice way. And so I really enjoyed that part of the book. I really enjoyed like the middle of the book. That's where I feel like I really hit my stride. The things I didn't love, I cannot recommend strongly enough against reading the oh my god, digital, what's the word I'm looking for?
Ebook?
Oh, the ebook?
The ebook version. Yeah, I recommend strongly against reading the ebook version. It was extremely confusing when it jumps to a different. I don't know how it is in the actual book, but it has like a click here function, and sometimes it's just fucked up and it leads you to the wrong place, or it's like confusing when you're supposed to click, or like it's just very confusing. And there were even times when I was going through my sheet to track my decisions and I was like, this thing never came up. I never made this decision. And I couldn't tell if that was, I never came across that decision. I couldn't tell if that was part of the book or if it was, I don't know. I was very confused. And I don't think the mechanics of whoever converted the book from a normal book to an ebook figured that out. And then I thought the premise was just like, I couldn't get into the premise that much. I felt like it was a little far-fetched. And I didn't feel like it was super earned, but I was able to set that aside and just be like, okay, I feel like the premise is too far-fetched that there's this whole secret society based on, and this
like
guy
that
like
secret.
Yeah. And, and then they have like a whole elaborate thing. I don't want to get into the spoiler territory, but they have like a whole, just very elaborate, mysteries and like mechanisms and all that stuff. I was like, that seems a little much. And I actually thought I loved the choose your own adventure aspect as a concept. And there were times where I was like, this is very cool, because there were actual real stakes of the choose your own adventure, which we can maybe talk about more later. But there were times when I thought that the choose your own adventure nature of it actually really took away from the nature of the book. There were just choices. You could make one choice or the opposite choice. And because it was such an this book was about these characters being so introspective that when the choices were, I've decided this about myself, or I've decided this opposite thing about myself, it just made me feel like that was disingenuous. It felt like not genuine. Or you're making like romantic choices for the characters. I was like, whoa, this feels weird. I don't know. We can talk more about that later. But there were just times when I was like, it just felt weird. It just kind of like detracted from it for me a little bit. So that's kind of how I felt.
I kind of agree with that. I do have some specific things that I was planning to bring up in spoiler territory related to that.
I kind of want to piggyback off of that, where I felt like not only was it disingenuous at times, but that it also felt like the payoff wasn't there. Like, no matter what you picked, you ended up in the same section. Like, when it came to such an emotional decision, like you said, either romantic or maybe like between the friends, like something, a way to approach a conflict, because you've got four pre-college young adults going on a road trip, hormones are raging, there's a lot of questions when you go off to college about relationships that you're in, so that naturally comes up, and I felt like no matter what you picked, the same result happened. So for me, it felt like, why am I even making this choice? But then there were times, like you said, where it paid off. Like, there were some real consequences, and we'll get into that in the spoilers. But yeah, it felt like that's why this book was so much shorter than I originally anticipated it to be, because I felt like, for the sake of space, certain challenges that came up didn't result in anything different. They were just kind of there to engage you, which isn't necessarily the wrong choice. It just wasn't the choice for me.
Yeah. And I thought that, again, because it was so introspective, and because of the nature of the book and the style that the author wrote in, but also the fact that it's a YA book, and a lot of YA books are like, here's a heavy-handed moral of the story, because this is a coming of age story, and this person is learning about who they are and how to improve themselves. When you had opposite lessons that could be learned depending on the choice you made, it was like, wait, what? So they're either this kind of, like, it was just a little strange, because I could see, the end of the paragraph of the other choice you could make, and I was like, that's the opposite thing. I don't know, just a little.
Without getting into spoilers, I agree.
Yeah.
Rico, you are literally raising your hand. Would you like to go next?
I think, aside from the ebook thing, because I read the hardcover, I think I almost completely agree with Jessilee. I'm gonna phrase my time to talk as a shit sandwich. I'm gonna give something I like, stuff I didn't like, and stuff I liked at the end. What I really liked about the book was the wide representation of characters. We said, like, this book is very queer friendly. There was a wide range, and I think Jessilee put it nicely. It's a casual. Because it's kind of casual representation. And I did really enjoy that. Now, the stuff I didn't like, that aside, I didn't really like the characters. Some of them really annoyed me. And I forgot who it was. Who said, maybe Laura. But some of the characters seem very similar to each other, to the point where, like, I was like, how are you different? Like, why do you exist? Like, you're kind of coming at things from the exact same point of view. I think Cleo really was the only one who had a very unique voice. The other three kind of just meshed together, even though the author tried to separate them. I was like, which one of you is a skeptical one? Because sometimes you're skeptical and sometimes you're not. Sometimes you really believe it. And so it's kind of weird. It's like, I don't really like you as characters, but I like the representation you have. That's great. I didn't overall like I was scared I was not going to like the choose your adventure part of it. The very first choice, regardless of what you chose, it gave you the same outcome. And I was like, if this is the entire book, I'm going to hate this. And then eventually there are some actual variances you can take. But Jessilee, to your point, some of the choices was like really introspective, or very like consequential decisions you had to make. I didn't know how to choose. Like, am I choosing this from the character's POV? Because some of these choices are very difficult. Or am I choosing just from what I want as a reader? What would be more fun? Like, what would be more chaotic or whatever? And so it was hard for me to choose sometimes, of like, who are you as a person? Like, this is such a big question. Just have me choose. Do I go left or right? Like, I want those kind of choices. Do I pick up the sword, or do I pick up the axe? Like, something like that. Not like, do you tell this person you love them or not? It's like, that's a huge question. I don't know. How do I answer this? Laura, you look like you have something to say.
I do, but I'm waiting for you to be done.
Well, no, you go ahead. I got more.
Well, no, I was gonna say, like, I totally agree on the some of the choices that we have to make. It took you out sometimes. It made you feel weird. Yes, there were times when I didn't know if I should pick what I feel or the character, and I guess that might be one thing that I struggled with too, was that the choices that I mostly picked were more in line with who I thought the character was.
Mm-hmm.
But then I realized when I was almost done that maybe I'm getting the story of who the characters are, but now when I put my choices into that worksheet that's supposed to tell me about me, they're no longer my
Right.
choices.
Right. Yeah. I didn't even think about that. Yeah.
And so that's why I think a lot of the choices that we're given in this book is mainly just for that worksheet. And so
Yeah,
that's
maybe.
another reason. Yeah, that's another reason I'm thinking I might want to go back and reread it. It didn't take me that long. So if I
Yeah.
go back to the start and I decide, okay, I'm only making choices based on what I believe, then this worksheet is probably going to be more accurate.
I did find myself coming at each decision one of 4 different ways, and I didn't really know which was the best way, and I kind of alternated between the 4. The first one was choosing for the character. In this situation, I think this character would choose this.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I came at it as, in this situation, this is what I want, just because it's fun or because I think it'll give me an interesting path or whatever. The third choice, which I didn't really like, was sometimes I felt like there was a right or wrong decision, especially when it came to like some of like the tarot meanings, and I don't know much about tarot. So it's like, choose this symbol or that symbol. I'm like,
Yes.
this is going to have big consequences, and I'm just not informed enough. And so I didn't really like that. I don't like the idea of having a wrong choice. And then the fourth option was, well, okay, Jessilee, really quick. And then the fourth choice was like, okay, all 4 of us are reading this, and I kind of want us to have the widest spread possible. Do I choose the one choice I think no one will choose just because I want to just mix it up? You know,
Classic
like,
Rico.
yeah, like to bring the chaos energy. So I didn't know how to choose sometimes, and I didn't like that. Anyhow, sorry, Jessilee, what were you gonna say?
No, you're fine. I totally agree with that. And there were times when I think one of my biggest things about the choices was that the way that the questions were framed, when it came time to make the choice, I was like, wait, what? Like,
Yes.
there was one, I don't think this will spoil anything, but there was one where it was like you were given a bunch of numbers. You're like trying to solve this sort of maybe possibly mathy thing. And I was like, and we're given this choice, and it is based on how much knowledge you have of tarot. And you're given this choice. And I was like, what? Like, we were not given enough information. And the consequences were very serious. So I felt like I was in like a dream state where I was taking a math test naked, and I didn't know any of the answers. So
Yeah.
I was there were many times when I was just like, we were not given enough information. I had to go back and reread. And I was like, okay, I guess I just won't know.
I did that a few times too. I was like, wait, I didn't understand this. Let me go back, read it a few times, and I'm like, I'm just going to pick this one.
Yep. So that's one thing I didn't really like about it. I guess I'll just wrap up my shit sandwich. One other thing I did really like about the book, Jessilee, although I agree with you, the I didn't buy into it. This whole mystery, it just kind of just happened. Everything was just happening. It was a lot to take in. That said, I will say it was fun. I don't quite understand tarot very well. I didn't understand everything that was happening. I didn't buy into the entire premise, but once I just kind of let go of everything, and it's like, I'm just along for the ride. We'll see where this takes me. These type of books are supposed to be fun, right? Like you're supposed to enjoy the path you choose. And it was. I have a lot of questions, but it was still fun.
So on that note, because I think you guys have said pretty much everything that I thought while reading this book, in particular, the choices being either arbitrary or conflicting between what perspective I was coming from, and that they were too either introspective, and it was like, am I choosing this for the character? This seems really personal, and I don't feel like I got to know these characters very much over the course of reading, because this is like maybe not I think the full journey is about a week, and like you said, they were all very similar, so I didn't feel like I got to know one character in particular to make the choices that we were making. So on that note, I really want to get into our spoiler first impressions. So
Yeah, this is going to be a long episode, Jason. Sorry.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
It's fine.
So just because there are so many different paths we can go down, and because these paths can be influenced by your choices, this is your warning that at this point we are getting into the spoilers. And if you do want to choose your own adventure, to stop here and spend the next, 2-3 days reading this book, and then come back to this part of the episode and compare notes on where you ended up versus where we ended up. So on that note, Rico, add sound effects here. Spoiler warning. Proceed with caution. All right. So, summary of the book.
Well, we can't really do a summary because we don't know how it actually ends.
Well, so I did take pretty detailed notes of the path I took, along with all the choices you have to make. So how about, instead of going over the entire plot, since there's a lot, let's just talk about some of the more impactful moments of the book, and then at the points where we diverge, someone can chime in if you want.
Okay, because you're right. There are so many different choices in this book. While most of them don't really end up changing much of the journey, there are key points.
Okay, so chapter 1, we start off. 4 friends, Amelia, Chase, Cleo, and Logan, and they're about to embark on a 2-week road trip before parting ways to go college. Along on their trip, they bring a tarot deck, which Amelia has inherited from her grandmother, to help them decide which routes to take. We found out that the deck has always been missing 4 cards, which is very important. And this is kind of where we come to our first choice, which is which occult shop are we going to go?
Yeah, somewhere in the Joshua Tree area. Spoiler alert, the first decision does not make a difference. You end up there anyways.
That was going to be one of my questions is, did that matter?
I don't think it did, because ultimately, I picked Empress gets to decide where to go, and she's like, I was going to pick the Mother Earth anyways. So why are there knickers in a bunch, basically? And then the other option was to stick with what the card read and move forward.
Okay, let's vote. Who chose? The options were Queen versus Mother Earth. Who chose Queen? She chooses.
I chose Queen. She chooses, because that felt like the most.
Who chose Mother Earth?
To that character.
The other one, Deb.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Cool. All right, Valerie, you're the odd person out. Cool. All right. Okay, so along on this road trip, the group is also planning on making a stop to visit a boy named Anwar, who is Amelia's long-term crush. Around this time is where we get the second choice, where we choose ocean or body heat. I don't remember what these meant, but I chose ocean.
I also chose ocean, and I also don't remember what those meant.
That's why I grabbed my book.
It was the reply to Anwar's DM.
That's right.
And he was like, you should pack layers. It's cold. And it was the choice between I'll take you to the ocean. And she's like, oh yeah, I don't get enough ocean and stars back home. Then the other one was like, I don't need a sweater. I have your body heat.
But at this point, we didn't know if he was actually really flirting with her or not. So
he was.
You may have been taking a risk.
He was. It's a YA book, so he definitely was.
We knew, Laura.
Normally, I did say I normally chose the spicier options. I did not choose a spicier option here, and I will give a reason why. It's because I have often been with people who did not bring sweaters or jackets when it's cold, and it annoys me.
That's true.
It's you should have planned for this. I told you to bring a jacket or a sweater.
This is the evil within, Rico. I'm so glad.
That's not evil. That's you should plan. I'm not giving you my jacket. So, given the choice of someone choosing to not bring a jacket, I'm not going for that. No.
Rico's like, I don't want to hear you whining all night. Bring the fucking jacket.
We need to immediately unpack this because this is problematic. Rico.
Yeah. Yeah, right?
No.
God, Rico, why don't you come prepared with a blanket for the people who come unprepared? Okay, this is really on you.
I do. I have a blanket in the car. And someone's like, hey, do you want to bring the blanket?
Wow, why do you have a blanket?
We'll get it later.
In your car, Rico? That sounds pretty presumptive if you ask me.
Yeah.
Just saying, what kind of first dates are you going on?
Always be prepared.
Wait. Okay, so did anyone choose body heat?
No, did you?
No.
I think I read that one. It was real awkward. It was weird.
Yeah. How could it not be?
It was like, ha ha. I think I blocked it out of my memory because it was really weird.
Okay, so we all chose ocean.
Okay. Okay. So this brings us to the inn, and we go to the hotel room with Chase and Logan, where they're getting a little intimate, and it brings us to our seventh choice. Do you get in bed together and just hold each other, or do you kiss and see where this goes? And I'm 100% choosing kiss.
Kiss.
Oh yeah, 100%. I picked
Yeah.
that too.
Yeah.
I
There was a
didn't.
spicier option. You didn't choose kiss, Laura?
Come on, it's a YA book. I didn't think it was going to happen anyways.
Well,
Yeah, but still, you're gonna try.
Wow, that
No,
attitude.
I
What the
went-
heck?
no,
Yeah, exactly.
I
Giving
went
up
with
before you even
hold.
started.
Hold.
I went with
up.
hold.
Oh, good lord. All right.
Hey now,
So
I'm not judging anybody else here.
you're right.
I'm not judging you.
You're
I'm
right. We
judging
said
your
no
choice.
kink shaming. We said no kink shaming, so that means no prude shaming. Okay.
All right, fair enough. Fair enough. Okay, so there's a knock on their door, and they open it up to find a young man who knows about their quest. Turns out Maggie, the shop owner that they went to, calls up others looking for the last tarot deck. However, this young man claims to want to help them. He's not there to take stuff. He just wants to help them. So when the other wanderers, we find out, arrive, the group splits. Kane, this guy, goes with Amelia and Chase to help them find the first card. After finding it, he asks if he can borrow it for a ritual so his dad's spirit can be at rest. So we come to the eighth choice. Do you let this kid borrow the card for this ritual, or do you take the card and keep it with you? So this, I think, is the very first consequential decision.
Yes. It took me a while to make my decision.
And then you decided, you chose.
Yeah.
I chose to take it.
I also chose to take it. Who gave the card?
I did.
You gave the card? Oh, yeah. Okay.
I'm very curious what happens.
Yeah, so what happens next for you two?
What happens next? Or do you mean like ultimately?
What is
Well, then the rest of what happened, what's the next event? Because this is where the story splits. There's a different outcome.
Oh, hold on.
So
should we go first?
I can go first. Okay, I'll go first. So this is what happens when you take the card with you, right? So Chase tells Kane he can't give him the card, but before anything else can happen, Kane lunges for the card. Chase and Kane start wrestling for the card, and the card rips in two.
Literal tug of war with the card.
Tug of war. So they're in that little closet with the little light. The light goes out. It's dark in there, and you just hear a rip. And so Chase is trying to get the two halves, and Amelia tells Chase to forget it because there's wanderers outside, and they know that the sound of the scuffle is going to lead them to the location. So Amelia and Chase leave, meeting up with Cleo and Logan in the van, and only half of the card.
Wow. Okay, see what happens.
Idiots. Sorry.
God,
wow. More judging.
Sorry, I'm hella competitive, you guys. So I am gonna.
Okay. So what happens
what
for
happens when you give it to him?
Well, the card does not rip in half. That's for
sure. Obviously.
And eventually, we get that card back, so we win.
Ew, don't tell us that yet.
Oh, yeah, I don't care. We're in the spoiler section.
I thought we were talking about the natural concept. So I mean, I guess like in the immediate term, it's like you agree to give Kane the card, and then he's like, "Thanks for the card. I'll get it back to you one day. I don't know how, but I'll get it back to you." And then like he helps you escape out the like exit or whatever, and you leave without the card.
And then you part ways.
Mm-hmm. Sounds kind of boring. I'm glad I chose what I chose.
At least we got the full deck.
Wow.
Anyhow, so the group arrives in Solvang with a renewed interest in finding the remaining cards, and there Amelia meets up with Anwar. So after a round of flirtatious questioning, Amelia asks if Anwar would like to join the group for their trip into Summerland. The group arrives at the Azure Tarot and meets its owner, Lauren Lady Azure Baxter. She then offers to do a complimentary reading, which Chase accepts. After the reading, Lady Azure reveals that she had gifted Carson Prowley use of their guest house to produce his art, where he created their deck. He then asked to have that deck mailed to somebody, information kept secret but accessible at their family home. This brings us to our next choice: don't believe or do believe.
In ghosts and hauntings.
Oh, that's right, because they think the house might be haunted.
By Pirelli.
By Pirelli, yes, because he died there. I choose do believe.
I chose don't.
I chose do believe, but even though I thought that would be inconsistent with Amelia's character, but mostly because the don't believe option, the way they framed it, seemed really aggressive. It was like, I don't believe in ghosts. She needs to know that. And I was like, yeah, that seems confrontational.
I think I mostly chose do believe because at this point I was still hoping this book was actually a fantasy and I wanted ghosts to appear. It's just like, maybe this is the right option to give me something cool. I don't know.
I chose don't because I was hoping that it would appear like, no, you're wrong. I do exist. Well, but we did not get that.
We didn't get that anyway.
At least I assume you guys didn't get that choosing believe.
Okay. Yes. We learn that Lady Ezra's daughter, Lily, is apparently a medium with a strong connection with Pirelli. Lily is also a trans woman. During her instructions of how to use the deck to find the missing card, Lily supposedly hears a voice saying, I think I wrote, keep walking through, little Dalit. Because of this connection to Dalit, Amelia instantly knows to press the Dalit button, which opens the chest. Immediately after the opening of the chest, the lights go out. As they try to get them back on, Amelia pulls out a scroll, which is meant to be read in the Hall of Cups upstairs. So this brings us to a series of options until the very end was the 14th choice was a blue door or a purple door. However, you didn't choose between them. The choices you made led you to one of these doors. Mm-hmm. So who got to the blue door?
Me.
Okay, so Laura, Bella, and myself, blue door. So Jessilee, you had the purple door.
Yeah, I had the purple door.
Okay, this will be fun. Okay, so after choosing between a series of doors, Amelia retrieves, for the blue door, she retrieves the missing card. But before she can exit the maze, Lady Azur stands before her, blocking the exit. We find out that Lady Azur never wanted Amelia to find the card, as she believes it is the source of the Baxter family's powers. There's a banging on the exit door until finally it opens, and that's when Cleo, Anwar, and Lily come in, having been blocked out. Lily stops her mother from trying to get the card and tells the group that there's another way to exit, and letting them know that their brother will be waiting for them. So if you went to the blue door, you were able to get the card.
What happened with the purple
door?
The exact same thing happened. But it didn't make sense because, like, you know, in the situation where you get the card, Lady Azur is like, I don't want you to have that because it's the source of our powers. But when you do, when the card gets destroyed, she's like, it's finally ours. And Amelia's like, what are you talking about? It's gone. And she's like, well, it belongs with us forever now because it's gone. So it like died here. So it's ours forever.
Yeah.
Which I didn't really make sense to me. But that is what happens.
Is it like it released the energy?
Yeah, the card is for sure destroyed. I don't know. They didn't really explain the reasoning behind it.
Okay.
At this point, when I realized there were consequences, I kind of would peek at the other option. I didn't read the whole thing. I would just kind of quickly peek just to see, like, did it really get destroyed? And I think I saw that it fell into, like, liquid and dissolved.
Acid.
Yeah.
Yeah, it did. It did dissolve.
Okay.
Yeah.
I had to know. I was like, I need to know that there's actually a different outcome, because at this point, I think it was like a lot of our choices didn't have consequences. And I was like, I need to know that I won. I need to know.
Oh my God, Bella.
And I won because it got to keep the card. So I was like, well, 2 cards are intact.
However, I will say that I don't know, maybe I just didn't read it. I don't know, skimmed over or something. I did not understand what the consequence was, so I don't know if it wasn't specified. I don't remember the thing being about the tank being acid. And I didn't understand that was happening until later.
They didn't explain that up front. They didn't explain that up front. They just said that the card would be destroyed. So for people whose cards were destroyed, you then knew what the acid solution meant. But I guess maybe they forgot to like bridge that gap. Like, I don't know. That was essentially how everything got destroyed. If it destroyed, except the first card, I guess.
Yeah. They don't call it acid. They say the clear liquid.
Yeah.
But based on how she said it disintegrated faster than if, like, not like it would have in water, I was like, that's acid. Like, that's just my guess. And I think it's a pretty solid one.
That sounds like science. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
This was one of the questions I had about this entire premise, because Pirelli has the means to make a secret room in a hotel somewhere that's activated by a secret button, and he has this giant maze that has vats of acid. Like, he's basically an evil genius. Like,
He's your dream goal.
yeah,
dream
exactly.
life. Yeah.
However, like, there's a lot of leaps you have to take, because if you go into this maze and there's just a container with liquid, how do you know it's like not to put your hand in there? Like, is it acid that only affects the card and not your hand? Like, there's just a lot of things you'd have to like not question, and I'm not about that kind of life.
It was like a specific mechanism. So it was like you couldn't interact with the solution at all.
Okay.
I don't know. Yeah.
Was it like the door that triggered it or something?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay.
Okay, since Bella is super competitive and wants to always win, if anybody's keeping score at home, Bella has 2 of the cards, and the rest of us only have 1 card each.
Okay.
Okay, let's just speed round. Let's see what's going on. There was 2 choices in this chapter. The first one was forces or own making. I chose own making.
Same.
Yeah. Own making.
And then the other choice was after there was some flirtation, it looked like, between Sadon and Logan.
There was a whole solicitation for a threesome.
There was. Which
I
was
would
like,
say that's more than flirting.
Where's that choice? I'm saying.
I know. I was like, come on, spicy book talk needs the threesome.
But this is also where Logan lets it slip that he's been thinking about wanting to be in an open relationship, which completely blindsides Chase.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So this is where all of the relation drama starts.
Mm-hmm. Which leads us to our 16th choice. Chase telling Logan that either he needs some space or tell him it's okay. I chose need some space.
I said
okay. Sorry, Laura.
Sorry. I think we both said okay. Yeah, I went with okay.
I said space.
This is one of the ones where I chose because I wanted a certain outcome. Didn't get it, but still.
This was another one where I felt like no matter our answer, the result was the same, which was that Logan went back home the next morning. So
Yep.
It didn't really have any consequence.
Yeah, I don't know. I felt kind of weird also that Logan left, because I was like, but you had a whole conversation about how he wanted you to stay. I don't know. It's his choice, but also Chase was like, no, stay. So I was confused about why Logan left, because it seemed like he left to give Chase space, even though Chase said he didn't want space. So I was very confused about that choice.
So Amelia and Anwar are outside having a nice little moment when Amelia sees that Chloe has woken up and is walking around the kitchen, which is really out of character. And so the option is, do you stay and get intimate with Anwar, or do you go check on Cleo? I chose check on.
Same.
Me too.
Same.
Yeah. I was very early team Cleo for sure.
Oh yeah, I was like, this has queer romance written all over it. This is a non-platonic queer friendship. Let's get into that. I was like, that's where I was like, I'm looking for a specific outcome. Thank you.
Yes, absolutely.
I need these 2 to end up together. I love them. I loved Cleo, so I was like, okay, let's make their dreams come true.
Cleo was my favorite. Cleo was my
So
favorite.
none of us know what happens. None of us know what happens if we try to get intimate? Or did anybody read ahead?
Nope, I didn't
read that one. Mm-mm.
You don't know.
Mm-mm.
Okay.
We'll never know.
Maybe I'll find out in my next read. Maybe. I don't know.
The next morning, after sleeping on it, Cleo decides to start using non-binary pronouns. They, them, their. The group gets ready to head out in search of the next missing card, but Anwar asks to sit this one out, not feeling up for it, and instead promising to have a meal waiting for them when they return. Interesting. Okay. You just joined the group and already bowing out of the first adventure. Interesting.
And there was no meal.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't be suspicious. Don't
Don't
be
Be
suspicious.
suspicious.
So the trio set out into the forest and come across a wooden structure, which is too small to be a cabin, yet too large to be a shed. They enter and find an empty compartment. And so it looks like someone got there before them and found the missing card. However, that should be impossible without the deck, right? So Amelia goes to pull out the deck only to find that it is missing.
Oh no!
Instantly, Cleo suspects only one person, Anwar.
Look, I'm gonna say I suspected this was going to happen
Me too.
as soon
Yep.
as their line
Yep.
said she put the deck in the secret pocket when he was sitting next to her.
Yep.
Mhm.
Well, yes.
And again, I knew that Amelia was going to end up with Cleo, so Anwar had to go, and this was the only way that made sense. Was he was going to betray them.
Okay.
I dig it.
All right.
I dig it.
I was like, he's got to go.
I never trusted Anwar, not for
Yeah,
those
no.
reasons. I thought Anwar would be part of the Prelian groups,
I thought so
which
too.
turned out not to be true.
Me too.
But
I mean, I
like-
hoped he wasn't, which
yeah.
he wasn't, but I also suspected it.
Yeah. The trio then assumes new aliases, and they arrive at Chill's Coven, which is where the stolen deck is. And there they meet another trio who are in the middle of solving the next missing card puzzle. This leads us to our next choice, tarot history or tarot symbols, in terms of what is more important.
Ooh.
Well, this is the one that you were talking about earlier about all the numbers thing.
Yes.
Yes. Did anyone try to like actually do numbers and do maths?
No.
No.
I was like, I'm not doing
Did
that.
it not add up, or
I didn't try.
no, I did not.
Okay. Good talk, everyone.
Yeah. I chose
I was
tarot
like,
history.
all these, I did not even read the numbers. I was like, oh, numbers.
Yeah.
That add up to 14.
Those are numbers. Those are also numbers. Let's move on.
I chose symbols to answer maybe the original question.
Okay, you chose symbols. I chose
Mhm.
history.
I chose history.
I chose symbols.
Oh, split decision again.
Okay.
I'm a big fan of
okay.
symbolism, so I had to.
So Chase works with this new trio to solve the puzzle, and then the leader of the coven and the woman to whom Anwar sold the deck suddenly appears. Unsure if she's onto them, nonetheless, the trio team up with her and her coven to find the next missing card, though she insists on riding with them. In the van, Rosa reads the trio, which starts to send Amelia into a panic attack. Cleo helps talk Amelia down and also reveals that they are in love with Amelia. The pair agree to figure things out later. After successfully solving the puzzle, the group is able to retrieve the third missing card when suddenly our heroes grab the deck and the missing card and begin to run away. You had a choice to make. Do you bring the card with you, or do you leave the card behind in order to slow down Rosa? And so the 24th choice was you leave the card or you keep the card. I chose leave it.
Same.
I chose to keep it.
Same. I was trying to win the cards.
Okay,
So-
interesting. Okay, so I
so-
wonder what happens.
So I won the card. What happened to yours? I only care about that. I want to know how badly you lost. So what happened? So when you leave
no.
it,
Yeah, I want to know what happens
Yeah.
when you leave it.
yeah, when you leave it, what happens?
Amelia throws the card into a nearby stream, knowing that Rosa would be forced to stop to rescue it. And that gives you enough time to escape. They reach the van, and they find Logan there waiting for them. And then they get in and they drive away.
Okay, I got to keep the card, and we had enough time to run away and
Yep.
saw Logan at the car.
Explain
So,
how
like,
did that happen? What happened?
That's it.
So-
she just speeds up.
her
That's it? You just keep running?
her resolve like kicks in, and she goes super freaking fast. And she's like, and I can outrun anyone, even Rosa and her stepdaughters or whatever, and the stepsisters. So I just want to say that I got to keep the cards.
That makes me so mad because I was like, look, I already lost one card in a bunch basket. I'm not going to risk it. Like, I'm not going to risk getting away. I was like, these actions have consequences. I'm not taking any more risks.
Yeah, I was like, I know if I leave it, I'm losing the card. So I'm going to try to win this card by just running, and it worked out. So I just like to see.
I am more pissed off that Bella's desire to just win paid off. Because, like you, Jessilee, the first choice was, I'm going to take the card. Oh, guess what? It ripped in half. There's consequences. Fine, then leave the card. Because ultimately, what's more important is the grandma's deck. All these extra cards you didn't have to begin with. You can get rid of those and keep the deck. But apparently that doesn't matter. Cool.
Yeah. It's interesting because I do like the way that the author designed this, right? Because there was no predictable pattern for how to keep all the cards. It was like purely chance, essentially. You couldn't just be like, let me choose the most compassionate thing, or let me literally just try to keep my hand on the card as much as possible, because so I thought that was like closest to how life is. And I appreciated that. It wasn't super formulaic.
I don't want to keep reading because Bella won, but whatever. Logan explains that since he left, he's been trying to find any information on Pirelli, which of course doesn't exist. While at the gas station, Chase and Logan agree to resume their relationship, even if just for a while, until they can figure out where they truly are. The group continues to drive onto Mammoth Mountain, the location of the last missing card, and there they drive up to a house where a man in a wheelchair meets them. A man who introduces himself as Brendan, Carson Pirelli's son. Inside the house, Brandon leads them into an interactive introduction of the Lionist Way, which Chase asks to do first. So during this interactive introduction, we come across 3 choices. For me, after I chose Hermit, Hierophant, Moon, my outcome was that after completing the introductory experience, Brandon offers Chase a place in the Lionist Way as a guide in training. Laura, did you get that?
Wait.
Oh, everybody got that regardless of what you chose?
Ending. Yeah, that's where I'm like, I don't think it ended up mattering.
So we all came out the orange door?
Like,
mine was yellow, I think. But...
Yellow?
Yeah, I think there was one outcome where it was like, oh, you chose the orange door, that makes you special. And then there was another one that was like, oh, you chose the door, that makes you special. Like it just left out. It didn't matter which door you chose. They wanted you.
Everybody is special.
Yay!
Cool.
Oh. So did you guys accept or decline?
I accepted.
I accepted.
Oh.
Okay. So what happened?
Wait, I want to know why you decided not to. Why did you decline?
This man is 18 years old. He is too young to be making the decisions and joining up with some secret society who...
Hold on. If you can sign for student loans at 17 and 18 years old, you can. And I shouldn't have been signing for student loans at 17 and 18. Get out of here. Stop vandalizing him.
But he's saying, "Oh, you can still do college and just do weekend seminars, and then when you come back, you'll have a job here." And it's not
necessarily about. My thought process was he can join later. Like if he's special, he'll be special later.
Not as a guide. I'm pretty sure that offer would have expired.
Rico,
that wasn't stated in the book. That was never stated in the book.
No, he was like,
Were you concerned that he was possibly getting involved with like what may have been a cult at a young age?
Yes.
Which, by the way, they did notice. They did mention that.
Oh, Rico.
They did mention that. Wait. We're doing accept or decline. Where is this?
Yeah, I chose decline.
Okay.
I'm the only one.
It says, if you don't wish to join us formally as a guide, you're always welcome to remain a part of the Lionist Way as a member.
They sounded a little needy. I'm just going to say it.
Yeah, exactly. That'll make it. But it doesn't say it expires. Like, you can still join as a member, but it doesn't say you can't join later as a guide again. I'm just saying
I took it as you can't.
Well...
I considered it like you're helping us start this church.
This cult, yeah, no.
Or like
I want that energy.
Whatever.
Anyhow, there's a lot of change going on in Logan's life. No, not Logan's life. In Chase's life right now. He's maybe in an open relationship with his boyfriends and go off to college. This is a lot for him. He needs to focus on his schoolwork. Anyhow, so after they finish their own experiences, the group begins their hike up the mountain trail to find the last card. That's when Chase asks Logan if they can have a talk. And this brings us to the 29th choice. Do you want to break up or be in an open relationship?
Open relationship, obviously.
this is again where I chose just the outcome I
Eureka.
wanted to happen, and I wanted them
Chaos.
to try an open relationship. Open relationship is not for me, but it is for other people.
But it is
And
for
so I
fictional
wanted them
characters
to
in this
try it.
book.
I felt like it was just not authentic to his path because he was like the thought of him with somebody else. And like, I don't know that I couldn't be in a monogamous relationship. So I was like, it just seems like the only choice was breakup.
Hmm.
In my
I get that.
my humble opinion.
Makes sense.
Which is
But
the
you can
opinion of
try. I
chose open. I chose
That's-
open
You
because
can.
if it doesn't work, you stop.
Well, we know
that's-
you
Look,
yeah,
I was
chose
hoping for that
also why I
threesome
chose
with earlier
open.
with the other guy.
You know.
Like, I want the sequel with that.
Who knows? Maybe you could write some fan fiction.
Oh, there we go. Now you got another
We'll add it to the
fanfiction
list.
idea.
You can write the spicy
There we
fanfic
go.
Because I
that we read
mean,
in After Dark.
everybody wants to read a gay threesome fanfic from a hetero guy. I'm sure that'll go great.
Look. Just as long as you write it correctly. Okay?
The correct way is to have someone better to write it.
Tasteful, Rico.
No, I also went with open
Tasteful
relationship
threesome
because
energy.
it does specify see if an open relationship works. Because they
Yes,
obviously
yes.
do love
Yes.
each other. They
Yeah.
do want to be together. And if that's the way it is, then it doesn't hurt for them to try and see if this works.
Exactly.
And then they do
Great.
go into like they do talk about like, we'll have to establish some ground rules and we'll figure this out and just see if it works. And so I thought that worked well with them both being able to still be together in a way and work on the relationship.
I'm just selfish and I wanted more polyamorous representation in there. Just
That was also part of it.
Mhm.
so as much representation as we can stuff in there. I'll
That
take
wasn't
it.
in there yet. That wasn't in there. So
Yeah. I was bummed to be selecting a choice that did not promote that because I agree with you. We need more representation.
But you
I was
clearly
like,
didn't
it just
agree,
didn't feel
so
like his
anyhow.
character
Moving
as much
on.
as I wanted it.
Moving on.
Oh, but his character.
Okay, final chapter. Final chapter.
Oh my God, Rico!
No,
All right,
final
we're
chapter.
almost
Come on,
there.
we're almost done.
We're almost there.
We're almost done. Okay. So Amelia checks Anwar's social media and surprised to find that he's posted images of his mobile home and sick mother. This proves that he wasn't lying about that. So after forgiving Anwar, Amelia tells Cleo about her true feelings. This leads us to the 31st choice. Do you tell Cleo that you also love them, or that you don't have those feelings and they're only your best friend? I hope we all chose love, right?
I love you.
No, I actually
How
said
do
get
I-
back together with Anwar.
How do
I wrote
I
in my own
boot
option.
Bella from this call? Do I have that power? No? Damn.
Get out of here!
Good. All
course
right, so
I
Amelia and
chose the
Cleo then
pansexual
finally share a
relationship.
kiss. Everybody's happy because it finally happened.
Yay.
The group reaches a final destination and find a seat in the shape of a sword, and within it a compartment holding the final missing card and a letter. Reading the letter aloud, Amelia and the rest of the group learn that Grandma Flo was Carson Pirelli's first love, and in fact is the person that introduced him to tarot to begin with. Inside the compartment, Amelia also finds two small boxes, only one of which will be able to be opened before the other is destroyed. This is, I think, where one of your previous choices dictated what you're supposed to choose here. I chose Honor Legacy, so I chose the Legacy box. Did everybody end up choosing Legacy box? I know Jessilee had switched your answer.
I did end up choosing Legacy box.
Okay, so inside the box is a letter written by Amelia's grandmother explaining why she kept the deck a secret. Turns out in her youth, she became pregnant with Pirelli's kid. They agreed to give the kid up for adoption. Occasionally, though, when Pirelli and Grandma Flo would talk about the kid, they would use the name Zane, which means that this mysterious page Zane that has been buying up as many Pirelli items as possible is related to Amelia. There is one final item in the box, another card with writing on it asking if they'd like to donate the final box to the Lioness Way or keep the deck. The 32nd option is, do you donate the deck or keep the deck?
I donated.
I have a question. Did anyone call secret
I mean,
pregnancy?
I was like, some shit's gotta have gone down, right? Like,
Yeah, I don't know if it's exactly secret pregnancy, but I definitely figured there was connections.
Did anyone call
Yes.
that they were in love prior to their marriages?
Yeah.
And that's how she got. Okay. So I called secret
Okay.
pregnancy.
And
Okay.
who asked?
To show that. I just needed that to be on record because I often don't get to literally be on record being like,
It's so nice to meet you, Bella.
I promise this is mostly a caricature of who I am in real
Mostly.
life. I'm not really quite this mean to Rico.
Did anybody donate the
Sometimes
deck?
I
or
really
did
play it up.
anybody
I
decide to
donated.
donate the
I
deck?
donated the deck because I
donated the
felt
deck.
like it was.
So
She fulfilled her journey. She got to know her grandmother more, and now she is ready to let it go.
So what I did with my completely intact deck,
Yep.
because I think I'm the only one who got all the cards. Gotta again let the record show. I got all the cards. I donated it because I'm pure chaos.
Wow.
Even though I like really wanted to keep it, I was like, I kind of just want to give it away because I don't feel like she would keep it.
Cool.
So I gave it away.
Jessilee, you kept the deck.
I kept it. Yeah.
Me too.
What happened? What happened?
You have the
You
deck.
get
Just
the
have
deck.
it.
That's it. Nothing really happens. No,
That's it.
It's her deck. It was her grandma's deck. All this extra stuff was just an adventure. It doesn't matter. At the end of
At
the
the
day,
same time, it really wasn't.
But his thing was that he wanted the knowledge to be accessible. Like he wanted the knowledge.
what
to
knowledge
grow
is there? It's a
and
tarot
live on in
deck.
Future generations. So it
I don't
felt
think you do
elitist
that.
to keep it.
No, yeah.
Rico.
I didn't understand what was so special about this deck ultimately. It's a tarot deck. Like, why do you need this deck other than to complete the collection? Like, I collect lots of things, but who cares? You don't need
Elitism.
that.
They wanted to
Well-
gatekeep it.
Well,
They wanted
then
to be
why-
like,
if
I
you
have
feel like
the
it
final
didn't
deck.
matter, why did you keep it?
Pure status symbol.
No, it matters
Why'd
to
you keep
Amelia, is what I'm
it?
saying.
Yeah, it has sentimental value.
Well, logic.
Exactly.
There are all other tarot decks out there. There are
Except
thousands
Yeah.
of decks out there.
Yeah. There was no reason why this group needed this deck.
Well,
Zero.
I feel
There's
like
zero
it
information.
wasn't. Well, it
Okay,
was her grandmother's deck. It wasn't.
Yeah.
I don't really view it as her grandmother's deck now that we know the origin of it. Yes, the teachings behind Pirelli are based on her grandmother, but her grandmother chose to not be a part of that world. She knew it was there. So she
But the
distanced
deck was
herself
literally
from him.
given to her. Pirelli himself chose to give the deck to the grandma.
Yes, but that was not hers. That was not her own. She did not create it. She chose to not be a part of his teachings.
I think we need to fight to the death.
Yeah, I agree with you.
I agree. I call Rico. I'll fight
Oh, okay. That was easy.
Because
I
he
mean,
knows I would
okay, to
totally
use a
win.
really geeky like comparison,
He
it's
would
like
never
if George
fight me.
Lucas himself mailed me a script for Star Wars. Like, here, Jason, I want you to have the script for Star Wars. It is mine.
But what if you were a Star Trek
stop.
nerd?
No,
You
Yeah, but
I
wouldn't
have
care.
I
that's
have
the
the
thing.
script. I have it. It is mine.
But
I don't
this
care if
deck
there's a Star
feels
Wars
like-
museum.
Amelia didn't care about
Your-
Tarot. She didn't believe in
Jason,
it. She
your
liked the
example does
psychological
not
teachings.
compare because in this deck of cards that has a picture of her grandmother in it, it's like fan art. It's like you taught
What?
me all this stuff. I'm creating this thing. I'm teaching all these people the things that you taught me here. And she's like, I don't really want to be a part of this.
And also, I would just like to say before we start fighting to the death is that when you give away the deck, she keeps the
That's
card
true.
of her grandmother as like a token of her journey and of her grandmother's teachings. Which I
So
felt
you
was very
didn't
authentic to
technically
Amelia.
donate.
And so
You
I
didn't
still
technically
think
donate the
I'm
full
right
deck then,
to
Bella.
donate it.
Yeah, so
Yes,
we all lost.
Well, this is true. I had to keep my winnings. I had to show a symbol of the ultimate win, which is getting to the top of that mountain, obviously. I'd have proof.
Anyhow, this book brought everybody, all the friends together. It is tearing all of us apart.
No, it told her. It tore
They
the
brought
whole
you
back
talking about?
apart. What are you talking about? No, Logan
They're-
and Chase are
they're
breaking
not
up.
breaking
They're
up
never
in
gonna
mine.
meet again.
Relationship. And yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, in my
your
version, the open
sorry.
relationship works for them. The son comes and joins them occasionally, and others.
Yes. Correct.
You might as well.
See? See,
It's
we have the correct interpretation of this book. You two, I don't know.
Okay, wait, we got one more left.
Yeah. So final decision. Introduction or goodbye, and goodbye.
I said introduction.
You chose introduction.
I chose introduction.
I chose goodbye.
Like if she's donating this deck
I chose
that's
goodbye
worth
too.
billions of dollars, she freaking better be involved in this.
Not me.
Oh, I saw it as like,
I can
okay,
see,
I'm done.
I
I
can
know
see
the
why
mystery,
you would say
bye-bye.
that, Laura. If you like,
Yeah.
if I was going to donate the deck to these cultists, I would also want to double check that they're going to use
Yeah.
it ethically
Agreed.
because it's worth millions of dollars. But because I didn't choose to donate the deck and I was basically done with them, I was like, bye. Just
Yep.
didn't
That
want
makes sense too.
to do with
Yep.
them.
Yep.
I saw it as like she was washing her hands of them. Like, bye-bye, don't want the deck.
Oh,
Goodbye,
yeah,
leave me
that
alone.
makes
let
sense.
go
For
back
me,
to
I
normal.
was like, I'm taking my here deck with me. Bye.
Mhm.
And
All right, well, we made
my
it to
God.
the end.
Over 2
We,
hours later.
oof.
4 hours later.
You're going to have a lot of editing to do, Rico.
We hate
We're
each
not
other
done
now.
yet though.
Oh, God.
Oh, good Lord.
Did anybody go through the rest of the workbook stuff?
No.
Yeah, I filled it all in.
Yeah, I did. Like
Oh.
the quiz or whatever, like the sorting.
Yeah.
The sorting.
Yeah, Bella,
Yeah.
you don't get to be a part of this then.
Okay. I was very confused by the sorting. So
Okay,
I
well,
didn't
really quick. Where did you get sorted?
Hufflepuff.
I got
Okay,
I
good
was
job.
I'm a wanderer.
Same.
Oh.
Okay, I'm repentant.
Oh.
No, you're not.
About being your friend, yeah?
About inviting me to be a host on the podcast.
Yep.
That's for
Exactly.
sure.
This suggests you are willing to experiment via trial and error.
That's what yours says?
No, yours.
Oh, that
No, that's not what mine says. I had a different one. There was two outcomes for each one. Mine says
You're right. You're right.
I learn quickly from my mistakes and are thus
You
a
don't.
keeper of great wisdom.
So wait, Laura, you got wanderer, but what did your wanderer say?
Ooh, yeah.
Now I'm double checking which one it is. You work hard for what you want and soldier on to do what is most necessary for your overall journey.
That sounds accurate.
That's cool.
Sounds about right.
Mine was you. Oh man, I didn't summarize it well, but it was like you do not put a lot of, like you value other things more highly than material possessions and have faith in yourself.
Except that you kept the deck at the end, so I don't know if I agree with that.
I kept the deck at
Assessment.
the end for sentimental reasons.
Yeah, because
Bella.
it means something. Because we
Oh.
have
Rude.
emotions and a heart.
Okay, I just wanted to win, and so I was
Oh,
done
okay.
once I won.
Well,
That's why they got sorted into Hufflepuff.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, strong Hufflepuff vibes for sure. Via
That-
the Slytherin.
Via the Slytherin dungeons, obviously.
Yeah.
He's rubbing up on me.
All right. And there's other stuff to fill out the worksheet, but I don't think we need to go over that because it's a lot.
It's a little more in depth.
Yeah, it's a little more in depth. But for anybody still listening after all this and interested, it is interesting to fill all this stuff out at the end. Like, I like this kind of stuff. Like all those like BuzzFeed quizzes of like, what type of beer are you, or what this are you? Like, this is this, right? This is, you fill in your
Oh.
answers. You get told what type of corner
You know what my
get
favorite
sorted into.
BuzzFeed quizzes are? Do you want to know what my favorite BuzzFeed quizzes are?
Which ones?
The ones that are like, you're a genius if you can get like
Oh,
more than 40
God.
of these right.
They are clickbait. I'm sorry.
my-
They're so accurate. Uh-huh.
Oh my goodness.
Okay. No, this is
Look,
actually
I
really
win a lot of
interesting
those.
to fill out.
Okay. All right. So let's how about let's us rate the book now. Okay.
Oh, we haven't even done that yet. Okay.
No. Okay. So on Goodreads currently it has 3.61 out of 5 stars, and that's with 269 ratings. Not a whole lot of ratings.
Oh, it's
That's,
small.
yeah.
Small portion. So would you rate this book as shit or the shit? Shit being obviously bad, and the shit isn't. It's worth reading.
Well, it is Pride Month, and we have established that everything is a spectrum. And so I would neither rate it as shit nor the shit. I would put it somewhere closer to the middle of a spectrum. I would give it like a 3 out of 5.
Okay.
Okay.
I think in the
Yeah.
spirit of Pride Month, we can get rid of the binary rating system.
I'm okay with that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I agree with that reading.
Okay. All right.
Okay. If we're doing a spectrum, I would also agree. If I am doing one or the other, I would say the shit.
Me too.
Because I still had a lot of fun with it.
Me too. And ultimately, like, I did recommend this to some of the kids in my classroom. I was like, this is a fun book. Like, if you like choose your own adventure, you can do it with your friends over the summer. Like, this is a great book for that. So, yeah. All right. So if you've been listening along thus far, congratulations. You've heard that I won this book.
Did it.
I won the story in the end, and that's really all you need to know. Cliff Notes version.
Okay.
I don't know about that.
What I want to know, if you've read this book and are listening, did you keep the deck at the end, or did you give the deck away?
And I also need to know, did you also get all the cards, or were you like all the other losers and you didn't get them?
That doesn't matter. That doesn't matter.
Because that's really what matters in the end, is that you got all the cards. Not the lessons learned, not the friends made, none of that crap.
Okay. The point is, if you guys read this book, we really want to know what your experience was like. Share what your results were in the little end of the book worksheet thing too. That'd be cool.
Yeah, we are kidding, but it looks like we all enjoyed reading this book. It was fun to like choose your own paths, and I personally really want to thank Jessilee for reading it with us and for joining us on the episode. Thanks so much for giving us your thoughts and being here. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for having me and letting me talk for some reason.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. We would love to have you back with a not choosing your own adventure book. Just a normal
and not a 2.5 hour recording.
Yeah, we appreciate your patience again.
Yeah.
No worries. I had a blast.
Awesome. Any socials you wanna share, or any upcoming events or anything you want people to know?
Maybe for Empire Arts?
Yeah. Don't check out my socials. I am not them. So if you want to check out our website, you can go to empireartscollective.com. We're a nonprofit performing arts organization. We do theater, poetry, improv, and choir. Do a lot of really cool stuff. So if you want to check us out, again, you can go to empireartscollective.com. Our socials are at Empire Arts Co. on Instagram and Twitter, and on Facebook, we are also Empire Arts Co. And we're also on Patreon. Oh, and we have an event coming up on July 27th. If you are a fan of Hamilton, you can come check out our Hamilton sing-along. The details are on our website. Our sing-alongs are really rad, and they're also a fundraiser for us. It will be at the Federalist Public House in Midtown Sacramento. And tickets are available online. You can come and sing along on stage, or just chill in the audience, or sing along in the audience. There's pizza and beer, and it's all ages.
Nice. They got vegan pizza.
Awesome.
That sounds like so much fun.
It's a lot of fun.
And got a lot of political friends I'll be telling about this event.
Perfect.
Awesome. Sweet. Awesome. Thank you. Thanks again for joining us.
Thanks, Jessilee.
Thank you, Jessilee.
Thank you for having me.
All right. And on that note, our next book, The Daughter of Dr. Moreau by Sylvia Moreno Garcia, a second one of Sylvia Moreno Garcia that we've read on the podcast. So join us for this second journey down my to-be-read list of this author. So tune in July. We'll hear you all then.
All right. I think that's it.
All right. Thanks,
Bye,
y'all.
everybody. Thanks.
Bye.
Shoot We've Read is hosted by Laura Benson, Jason Rico, and Bella Romero, with music by Joshua Chilton and editing by Jason Rico.
To join the discussion on this and all other books we've read, find us at Shit We've Read on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and TikTok.
For more information about us or to request transcripts, please visit shitwe'veread.com.
This podcast is part of the Bilo Network. Visit bilonetwork.com for more great geeky podcasts.
Thanks so much for listening.